All right, guys, we've got a brand new tobacco fragrance, this time from the house of Guerlain. It's Tabac Sahara. I've been waiting for this one. I've been anticipating to get my nose on it, and finally I'm going to do it here on camera for you. Have you guys gotten your nose on this one? Are you excited for this one? Let me know. This is another tobacco fragrance from the house. Comes after Tobacco Honey, which is a favorite of mine. You guys have heard me mention this one quite a bit on, or in videos, I should say. And then we also have this men's fragrance, L'Homme Ideal Extreme. This is in the previous bottle design. The bottle doesn't look this way anymore. Just keep that in mind. But L'Homme Ideal Extreme, I believe, is still selling. And I'm going to do a comparison with between the three tobacco fragrances from Guerlain. But let's talk mostly about Tabac Sahara. This is part of the Absolus Allegoria collection of fragrances. It's a 2026 launch. It's Delphine Jelk Perfumer. Retails for 125 ml for $240. And it's Eau De Parfum concentration. It features notes of tobacco, raspberry accord, and ambergris accord. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't got my nose on it yet. I'm excited. But if you've got your nose on it, let us know. Do add a comment below. And if you haven't gotten your nose on this one, like I haven't yet, are you looking forward to it as much as I have been interested in getting my nose on it? I love tobacco fragrances. It's a top 10. I think it's a top 5 note of mine. I enjoy tobacco fragrances quite a bit. I like the way they smell, and I like them spicy, sweet, and smoky, and all those kind of things. So yeah, I like Tobacco Honey so much. And so this one is one that I've been anticipating. So this is kind of like a lavenderish color theme, purple lavender, I would say. And this is part of the Absolus Allegoria collection. And this is another tobacco fragrance. I like the idea of tobacco, raspberry, and ambergris. So ambergris is going to create the ambergris accord with the sweetness and the fruitiness of the raspberry. And let's see, is this a smoky tobacco or is it a leafy tobacco? This doesn't seem like a super smoky tobacco. To me, it also seems like sweet, fruity, and ambery. I take it back. I think there is smokiness that's coming through. Didn't notice it at first, but smoke is definitely appearing. Yes, it's contrasting now with the sweetness. Is it a bit animalic? Ambergris sometimes can take on the animalic touches, and I like my ambergris to be faint. I also like my ambergris to be mixed with resinous amber notes, or accords, I should say. If it gets too animalic, I think I'm just not into. I mean, there's certain animalic notes I enjoy wearing. For some reason, ambergris is not one of my favorites. I mean, I like it edited and put in a fragrance that's not super overwhelming. But sometimes when they overdo it, it just becomes too much. Like there was a fragrance called Silence to See, or I think it's still in existence, from the House of Strangelove. Oh man, I couldn't appreciate that fragrance. It was just an ambergris bomb. But this one, I feel like there's faint touches of something ambergris animalic, but it's not overwhelming is what I should say. So I think I have to put my nose on this. It's not performing really awesomely on the strip. And so far, I'm not too excited about the smell, personally. Let's see how it does on skin. To me, it's not as exciting as Tobacco Honey, but I haven't worn it yet, so we're just experiencing this on camera for you guys. If you've been enjoying this one, you ended up testing it out, you bought it, and you're wearing it, let me know. It's a bit more interesting on skin. It's not as fruity sweet on skin as it was on the strip. I think amber is a bit more prominent here on skin compared to the strip. It starts out first with a bit of a leafy characteristic, and then it develops into something smoky. I've made my conclusion. This is definitely not one of my favorite tobacco fragrances. And the raspberry, I don't know if it's a subconscious thing. The fact that it's purple, it's giving me more of a plum vibe. It's not necessarily smelling like raspberry. It's more plummy. It's leafy, smoky, ambery, fruity, sweet. Will it grow on me? Yeah, this one is right off the bat not a wow. I wasn't like, wow, this smells so great like I did with Tobacco Honey. Tobacco Honey is so awesome, so long lasting, so intense, so sweet, honeyed. Also has that honeyed funk. Honey can be animalic, so you experience that with the tobacco honey, but it's got enough smoke contrasted against it, and some of those other notes, like there's tonka, there's sesame, there's oud, there's sandalwood, there's even anise and cloves in tobacco honey. So it does act more like my kind of a fragrance. This one, on the other hand, I'm still not sure about it. There's a potential that it will grow on me, but right now it's not one that I said, wow, I want to wear you. I'm being cautious about this one. It is definitely not acting like what I enjoy in fragrances. Well, that's a bummer, because I wanted to really love this one because I love tobacco and fragrances. I think it's that animalic funk that the Ambergris has that's not something that I'm appreciating. And I don't know, maybe I go in judging Ambergris fragrances. It's not one of my favorite notes, so maybe I have a judgment in advance. But I go in with an open mind. I go thinking it's going to be great, but if the Ambergris accord or note is too strong, then it's not something I like. Yeah, it's a bummer. This is not something that's a wow for me, unfortunately. Let's compare it to the other two fragrances. So we've got tobacco honey. I've recommended this quite a bit. It is awesome. One of the best L'Art et la Métier collection fragrances. And definitely, if you like my taste, you got to check this one out if you haven't already. So, if I didn't mention also, Tabac Sahara is Delphine Jelk. Tobacco Honey is also Delphine Jelk. And I'm smelling this stuff, and it smells super, super delicious. The smoke in Tobacco Honey reminds me of the smoke in Acro Smoke. But outside of that, they're not the same fragrance, by the way. They're completely different. There's not much honeyed effect in the smoke with Acro, but there's a lot of honeyed effect here because it is super honeyed. Honey sometimes to people's noses comes off a bit animalic because in the end it is from an animal, but this is night and day different. Oh my God, I love this. I love that whole drippy honey touch, the spiciness in this. It's quite spicy because it has warm spices. It does have a bit of a holiday spice vibe. I would wear this one in the coolest of days because it's sweet, it's honeyed, it's thick and syrupy. So those kind of fragrances might get cloying in the heat of summer, which is what I would envision people experiencing. But I don't have a problem with it myself. I always mention I wear what I like when I want to. So, but it's best left for the coolest of days because of that syrupy thickness. But this stuff is awesome. Really, really awesome. Hands down, the best tobacco fragrance from the house of Guerlain. But I haven't spoken about L'Eau Ideale Extreme yet, and I will do that as well. This launched in 2020, and at the time, it was my favorite flanker to the L'Eau Ideale collection, and it has plums, it has tobacco, it has the leather like the original collection does, it has the almonds, so those are part of the original L'Eau Ideale. Well, actually, no, not the plums. I shouldn't say the plums are. The almonds are definitely part of the original DNA. Tonka as well. So this to me is fruity, and to me it also acts a bit boozy. You have the leather, you have the tobacco. It's not super smoky like the tobacco honey is. I think it's a bit more leafy in the case of L'Eau Ideale Extreme. But for a men's designer fragrance, it smells awesome. It's definitely, like I said, it was my favorite of the bunch from L'Eau Ideale series up until the Parfum that just came out a few years ago. The Parfum, I feel like acts more like an Eau De Parfum for me out of the three Parfums for men. The L'Eau Ideale is the weakest. But as a smell, it's super awesome because it's boozy. But I do get a little bit of booziness here from L'Eau Ideale Extreme as well. Honestly, I think L'Eau Ideale Extreme is a great men's designer offering. Really, really awesome. If you don't know it, I highly recommend you check it out. Now let's go back to Tabac Sahara. It's sadly my third favorite in the bunch. First of all, it doesn't act like raspberries. I keep mentioning plums. It's a bit more plummy. The tobacco is kind of like a cross between the smoky variety and the leafy variety. And the worst part about the fragrance is the ambergris accord. It's not pleasant, and not to me. It's a bummer. I was really looking forward to this, but it's a disappointment, man. Such a disappointment. Bummer. Who's a fan of Tabac Sahara? So the fact that it has the name Sahara, is it a Middle Eastern style of fragrance? Now, going back to not the Absolus Allegoria collection, Absolus the Orient collection, there was a fragrance called Ambre Eternal, which was an amber created with Ambergris. I think that got discontinued quite fast. I do have a bottle of it. I have, safe kept a bottle, a backup bottle of it. The amber in that was so animalic. I liked it, and I hated it because it was just overpowering with the animalic touches. So this is reminding me a little bit of the amber in there and the animalic part. And I believe the Ambre Eternal was also created with Ambergris because it was an amber-focused fragrance in the end, and they were using the Ambergris accord in that one. But I feel like Ambre Eternal was a lot more animalic, and probably that's the reason why it got discontinued. Here, I'm reminded of it a little bit, but this one also has the overdose of sweetness, but it's just not pleasant. Now, I mean, this is my taste. I love a lot of fragrances. Sometimes they're not turning out to be the way I like my fragrances. I mean, I'm so into tobacco honey. Even L'Homme Ideal Extreme smells awesome. But for some reason, this one, I don't know, the blending is not the kind I like. The notes are not appealing to me. It's just not something I would wear, sadly. But if they had done it maybe more in line with something like tobacco honey, I would have liked it. But they already have tobacco honey, so why would they bother making another one that's similar to tobacco honey, right? So they're gonna have to make something different. But this, to me, I think is a lot more daring than a lot of their other fragrances in any of their collections, including the Absolus Allegoria collection. Like late last year, I bought a bottle of Ambre Samar, which I heard a lot of great things about it. So I ordered a bottle and I ended up liking it. It might be a bit mass appealing, I think, a little bit. And also there's a familiar smell about it. So, I mean, there's that, but I think it's a lot more enjoyable than the Tabac Sahara. Do you guys know Ambre Samar? It's definitely a great amber. There's familiar smells in there, but it's resinous, kind of leathery, saffrony. It has a very prominent Middle Eastern vibe going for it. And I think it's because of this you get that kind of familiar smell. But in the end, it's a very enjoyable offering. The one that I enjoy smelling and wearing. So this is definitely a pass. I love it. It smells great. But unfortunately, for me, Tabac Sahara is a disappointment. I would suggest get your nose on it if you're curious. Maybe you like the animalic daring touches. But for me, the best tobacco from Guerlain is tobacco honey. It still smells so fantastic, by the way, even today. It is really, really great. To me, tobacco honey reminds me a little bit of By Kilian's Back to Black. But for me, Back to Black had always smelled great, but it always felt subdued, like it was not loud. Like it felt close to my skin and it didn't have much projection. Whereas on the other hand, tobacco honey is super loud, really long lasting, intense. On the other hand, also really warm, spicy, also very resinous and syrupy, molassesy. Super awesome fragrance. So that's my thoughts today on Tabac Sahara. I wish it was better, but you can't win them all, right? I mean, when fragrances are made, they're not always appealing to everybody. But I always thought that this was going to be great because I like the idea of it, especially since it's also tobacco, which I absolutely love, but unfortunately it falls flat. But do let me know if you're a fan of Tabac Sahara. What is it that you like about it and what is it that you hate about it? Same thing with tobacco honey. Do you love it as much as I do? I'm obsessed with this. One of the best L'Art et la Métier collection fragrances, I think, from the house of Guerlain. And also, don't sleep on L'Homme Ideal Extreme. Only problem with L'Homme Ideal Extreme, I think, is it is probably exclusive for outside of the States. This might not be selling in the States, but I think you can always find it at third-party resellers or discounters and things like that. So there is that, but I have this feeling that this is not released in the States. So it might be a bit more difficult for you to get. But if you can find it, get it, especially if you're a guy and you like to wear fragrances that are specifically released for the guys. But again, there's no rules. I know a lot of women that wear this because they comment on the channel. And I think it's fairly unisex, even though it's targeted to the guys. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. It's a bummer that Tabac Sahara didn't work out for me, but maybe it worked out for you. But the one that works out for me is tobacco honey, like I said. See you guys later. Bye-bye.